we are getting much more information now about the man whose heroic actions may have saved so many more lives. This is Jack Wilson. He was the head of security at the church behind me. He's running for local office. He actually also owns a local shooting range, the On Target Firearms Academy. And according to folks here, he had trained several of the members of this community to shoot, to be able to defend themselves. It was his quick actions that saved possibly more lives.
Did you get any sleep last night?
It was a short night, because things still go back and forth in your head, and I'm fully aware of that. I mean, it's a process.
Of everything that happened in 6 harrowing seconds Sunday, there is one moment Jack Wilson keeps replaying.
Probably Richard getting shot. And knowing at that point, as the shooter turned towards Tony, that there was, it definitely, this is going to happen.
What happened was terror inside his home church. And as the live stream rolled, we watched Wilson do what he spent decades training for. He's had a federal firearms license since '86 and teaches CHL classes on his Granbury property.
What are you thinking, or is it just instinct? You see a weapon and you draw yours?
My training, says that if I see a weapon, especially in that scenario, because that is my job. I am the deacon in charge of security at the church, and the people that were on the security team, we have spent numerous hours training and working on just this type of scenario, hoping it never happens. And those people who have known me and been in my classes know from the past. You train, but you hope you never have to go to that extreme. But if you do, your training will kick in, and that was evident yesterday.
So how often are you out here personally?
It varies. It could be, once a week.
His range is where the other 22 members of West Freeway Church of Christ security team practice, where Wilson honed the ability to have calculated control with a deadly threat just feet away. You're shooting often, you are trained, you have that muscle memory. How important is that to what happened
That is
yesterday?
very important, that you're able to, every time you touch the gun and you produce it, to be able to, pull the trigger and hit what your intended target is.
You mentioned that you took a pause because there were people in the area.
And there were people in front of me, between the shooter and myself, trying to get, because the chaos that erupted when he shot the first time. Some of the people stood up and were trying to get in the way. I had to wait just a second because the whole thing was less than 6 seconds from start to finish. And, that was, I had to make sure I didn't hit it, someone, a member there, as they were right in front of me.
And at any point, did you want to go check on Tony and Richard? You've talked about them right now. It sounds like they were friends.
Because other people were already coming in to check on them, my goal was to make sure the shooter didn't get up. And, when I went over to cover him, I wanted to make sure that he was not going to get up. So that was my focus.
With one shot, Wilson took out the gunman, likely saving many more lives. For that, we call him a hero. He prefers a different designation.
A concerned citizen, concerned church member, doing what I can do to protect, the people in the congregation.
Now, the Attorney General praised Jack Wilson's actions. He said that this church and the way that they've trained members of the community to defend themselves should be a model here in Texas. Because of previous mass shootings, there have been new legislation that's been passed into law that allows licensed handgun owners to bring weapons into houses of worship. That is why this community was prepared in this specific attack, Ryan.
Certainly says something about the times we're living in, that a church feels they need to have armed security guards.
Still, even with all the praise and the preparation that helped put him in the right place at the right time, it's important to remember Jack Wilson's a victim, too.
I feel very sad and sorry for the loss of my 2 friends, but and I don't feel like I killed a human being. I killed evil. That's how I'm processing it.
This shooting comes just a few months after Texas updated its gun laws, allowing licensed handgun owners to legally carry their weapons in places of worship. Those laws also allow churches to develop, train, and plan for their own teams to provide security. And Texas, the Attorney General there in Texas says the church put those new laws into practice.
Their current security team decided they needed to train people in the congregation, and that's exactly what they did. And so not only did they have sort of professionals ready, but they also had members of the congregation. I think you can see from the video that guy was surrounded rather quickly by more than just, a few people.
I want to bring in now Isabel Arreola. She and her family are longtime members of the West Freeway Church of Christ. They were in attendance at Sunday's service when the shooting began. Isabel, I can't imagine what you and your family are going through right now. Just first of all, describe for me what happened. You say that West Freeway is really not that big of a church, but one that's always full on Sundays. And one of the witnesses says that this actually took place during communion. Tell me what happened.
We were getting ready to start communion, and this gentleman came in and sat the row behind us, and just seemed weird. He got up one time, said something to Tony as he was passing the first tray of communion, and whispered something in his ear and then sat back down. Then I noticed him get back up when we were getting ready to do the second part of our communion, and that's when he pulled out his shotgun, and all I heard was one shot go off, and I hit the floor, and I then heard another shot from the same gentleman shooting. All I could do was, just try to cover my child, my husband. We were just at a panic. We didn't know what was going on. Once I saw the man fall to the ground, I kind of looked around to see, who all was up. I saw a couple of members with their weapons drawn, and that was when I told my husband, we've got to get out, and I took my child and I ran.
Well, we're so happy that you're safe, and you talk about those fellow members of your church who rushed toward the gunman as opposed to running away. We've been telling their heroic story all day today, and ended up ending in just a matter of seconds. What can you tell us about them, and how thankful are you for the effort that they made to protect you and your family?
Oh, I'm so thankful. I just feel like if they weren't ready, on alert, it could have been worse than what it was. Unfortunately, we lost 2 members.
Yeah.
And I just, thank them.